Hiya. I promised I'd answer all your questions, so I'm going to do so here at work. Shh, don't tell. It's okay. I'm the boss. Speaking of work, though, it is another super cleavage day. Yeah. Anyway, so I want to get to all your questions. There were like a gajillion of them, and I really didn't expect that. So the first question I had was, what would be on your desert island music CD? So I'm assuming that this music CD would be a mixed CD, and I'm pretending that I'm not limited to the amount of data on the CD. So I would for sure have the entire catalog of AFI and the Get Up Kids. I would have some Every Time I Die, What's a Life Without a Little Johnny Cash, August Burns Red, Godspeed You Black Emperor, so that I could fall asleep, because I definitely kind of need that. Elvis would be there. Probably a good mix of Brand New, Alkaline Trio, Dashboard Conventional, Converge, Saves the Day, Against Me, Dead Kennedys, Vandals, Beatles, Shai Hulud. How big was the CD supposed to be again? Anyway, we'll just stop there, because otherwise I'll go on for days and days and days. The next question that I had was, how old was I when I got drunk for the first time? I actually was not really a drinker, so I think I was like 23 by the first time I got drunk. I mean, tipsy here and there, but hammered was probably like 23. How old was I when I experienced my first hangover? I'm a good little Irish girl. And I don't get really terribly hungover unless I hit it real hard. So I was probably like 27 the first time that I had a real good hangover. Hitting the whiskey a little hard with my boys. Okay, what was my fondest childhood memory? My family is Swiss. My grandmother is actually from Switzerland. And so if I had to pick a fondest memory, it would probably be going to the Swiss Club in Newark, California. We'd go for Schwingfest, for Swiss Independence Day, Christmas, Easter, holidays like that. And it was just lots of good food, music, wrestling, dancing, hooping and hollering, a little bit of drinking. But generally just a great time there with lots of family and lots of Swiss culture, so that's probably my fondest childhood memory. The next question I had was, did I enjoy high school, and if so, what is my fondest memory from high school? I did not enjoy high school, but if I had to pick a fondest memory, it would probably be joining up with some of the other artists in the school, and we went to the English department and each took a door and painted all of their doors based on the English teacher's request. So I got the toughest English teacher, actually, so maybe they thought I was super tough. But he wanted something based on Carl Sandburg's The Fog, and so I just did this big painting with a cat, lots of cubism. Anyway, I liked it a lot. I actually still have the like 300-pound door from when they tore the school down. I don't want them to tear my door down. Okay, next question I had was, what is your dream vacation? My dream vacation would probably just be a big long trip to Europe. I want to see ballets, pubs, museums, the Swiss Alps, everything we don't have here, especially in Reno, where we just tear down everything that has any cultural significance or history or anything related to it. Have I ever been in a cat fight? I have actually never been in a cat fight, but that's mainly because I follow through with my threats, and people are a little afraid of me, which is silly because I'm super gigantic and scary, right? Nobody ever wanted to fight me. I actually had football players afraid of me in high school, so I have never been in a cat fight, but I'm pretty sure I could make a mean punch. Next one was, what is your favorite thing to do in your spare time? Gosh, the thing I probably do most often in my spare time is cuddle, because I'm a big dork like that. I actually don't really have a whole lot of spare time. I tend to fill it up with a whole lot of extra business. But when I do have spare time, I'm just watching TV or movies or cuddling or reading or occasionally getting a little whiskey rowdy, which is a whole other story. Next question that I had was, if you have to stay on a deserted island for a week and you can bring 3 people and 5 things, who and what would you bring? This question had me stumped for a while, but thank heaven it's only a week. I think that I would have to bring my best friend because he's a damn saint and I don't know what I would do without him. And I would have to bring my little sister because she is literally the most fun person on the entire planet. And then I would have to bring a coworker that is really good at killing and cooking his own food, and he's also super blasty to hang out with. So the 5 things that I would have to bring would be a sunscreen, because look at me, I burn if I'm outside for like 15 minutes. I'd have to bring music and some sort of system to play it on. That counts as one thing, right? Whiskey, because we'd have food from my coworker that can hunt well, and we need something to drink with it, right? And water, I guess you need that because you can't just have whiskey. And definitely toilet paper, because let's not be savages. The next one is, what accomplishment in life am I most proud of? I really haven't done much. I guess if I had to pick something, I would probably say my cheer squad qualifying for the USA Nationals this year. I coach high school cheerleading, and the squad that I had this year was the 2nd year ever competing, and they, a lot of my girls, it was their very first year in cheer at all, let alone at any sort of competition, and we went up a division and we qualified for nationals this year, so I was pretty proud of them. What is my biggest fear? My biggest fear is hurting somebody else. I generally do everything I can to avoid causing anyone else any grief, sometimes to some pretty extreme measures. What's the worst pickup line I've ever heard? I don't know that I've ever really gotten any pickup lines. I suppose the worst opening to a conversation I've ever heard was, "Come up to my room," to which I responded no. And then he fired back with, "Come on, I'll pay you," which is pretty charming, right? Next question was, if Hollywood was making a film about you, which actress would play you? I would probably say Winona Ryder would play me, because she's a little bit dark and she's definitely a little nutty, so it's a wee bit appropriate. If I had only 6 months to live, what top 10 things would I do before I died? Which there was also another 3 things on my bucket list question, so this will go with that. I literally just had this discussion with somebody about how I've never really thought about a bucket list, and so I had to think quick on this one. And so I suppose the things that I came up with were to see Hedwig and the Angry Inch on Broadway, except for I think I'm shit out of luck on that one because it's on Broadway right now, and unless I get some money right quick to hop over to New York like soon, I don't think I'm gonna get to see it, which is a big bummer because that's a favorite of mine, big favorite. Next one would be to visit the Alphonse Mucha Museum in Prague. He's my favorite artist. That's my sleeve is a representation of a painting of his. Let's see, the next one would be to be tattooed by Jeff Gogwe up in Oregon. He's brilliant and I adore his work, and the sucker does not have a waiting list. I think I'm out of luck on that one too. The next one would be to shoot with Viva Van Story. She is a brilliant photographer. She does all sorts of really great cheesecake pinup work, and I love her, and I love to shoot with her. And next one would be to take that trip to Europe that I mentioned before. The next would be to go to a big festival like Amnesia Fest or something like that, so that I can see a whole big load of bands that I would just die to see, and it would be thrilling. The next thing would be to see any major ballet company perform a Balanchine ballet. He's like one of the most prolific choreographers of the 20th century, and I would just kill to see one of his performances live. Along those same lines, I would love to take a peek in at a company class at Pacific Northwest Ballet, just to see such brilliant dancers in an everyday setting. And I would choose Pacific Northwest Ballet because it's probably one of my favorite companies due to their quick work and a whole bunch of technical jargon that nobody else is going to pay any attention to. Let's see, next on my list is I want to see the Zags play at the Kennel because they have like the greatest student section in the country, and I have never gotten to actually see them on their home court. So Limsville is back there, and I would love to see them play at the Kennel. And lastly, I want to own a fully restored Beetle. Not particular about the year, the style, the color, what have you. It's just my favorite car to drive ever, and I want a super pretty one that's not going to just drain my pocketbook. And you all saw the one that my little daily driver that I loved dearly, and she was a damn mess, and now she's gone forever. R.I.P. Next question I had was, do I like reading, and if yes, what's my favorite book? I love to read. I actually get picked on for reading too quickly and then having to go back and reread things because I didn't pay enough attention the first time and I skipped sentences and paragraphs and things like that. So my top 3 rereads are Bram Stoker's Dracula, A Clockwork Orange, and The Stranger. But then I also want to throw in there Dominic Mallory's poetry book, Destroyer of Man, which I could literally read that thing like multiple times a day, every day, and be thrilled with it. It's some beautiful work. You should really check it out if you haven't heard of it. Next question was, how old was I when I had my first kiss and my first boyfriend? I actually didn't have my first kiss until I was like 13 or 14. I think it was like the summer before my 8th grade year, maybe, or summer before freshman year, something like that. Clearly was not very memorable. I had my first boyfriend. I've actually always had boys chasing me around, but if I had to go back to my first date, it would be when I was in the 1st grade. I went to the movies with a 3rd grader, so it was pretty super cool then. And the next question is, are you originally from Reno? I'm actually originally from Spokane, Washington, but we moved to Reno when I was like 2, so I don't really remember living in Spokane. However, I have 2 sisters that live in Spokane, so I'm up there all the time anyway, so it's like a second home anyway. This question was one of my favorites. If you could be the tampon of any celebrity, which celebrity would you choose? Fantastic question. I decided that I get to choose the era that the celebrity was in, because, let's face it, this isn't an interactive vlog, so you don't get to tell me what to do. And I would choose Betty Page for sure, because who would not want to be all up in that? Let's be serious. The next question was favorite band that I have seen live. That would be AFI for sure. I've seen them a few times in some big venues, Knitting Factory type of places and that kind of thing, but my absolute favorite was seeing them in a little dive bar over in Sparks, which is kind of a suburb of Reno. And it was like post Art of Drowning, pre Sing the Sorrow, and the show was brilliant, and I have the most massive crush on Davey Havok, so definitely AFI. And the next question was the weirdest thing I have ever seen in public. My little sister and I went to go see the B-52s a while back. It was a spectacular show, by the way. And their encore was Rock Lobster, which was thrilling for me because I get down to that song like it's nobody's business. And so I turned around at one point and I noticed that the man behind me was dressed head to toe in pink, like pink shoes, pink jeans, pink wife beater. The man is standing on top of his seat, swinging his pink button-up shirt around his head and just rocking out to the song. So my sister and I turn around, obviously, because who wouldn't, with our cameras and just videotape the whole thing. And I definitely go back to that video all the time when I need a little bit of a giggle. Next question was pet peeves. Anybody who knows me will tell you that my biggest pet peeve is proper grammar and spelling, because I'm a real big nerd, I guess. I literally have friends who will send me their tweets before they tweet them to have me edit them and make sure that they've spelled things right and used their commas right and all that. It's really a little bit pathetic, but I so enjoy it. Next question was favorite porn movie. I actually don't watch porn. I don't have anything against it. I just don't really get off on it. I suppose I'm a little bit more physical than cerebral in that regard. In my opinion, what is the definition of lame sex? That was kind of a hard question, actually. I suppose I would consider like a missionary pump kind of lame, but I haven't really experienced a whole lot of lame sex, to be honest. Next is the most unattractive thing you've seen a man do. I am a little bit of a dude, so there's not a whole lot that bothers me, but snot rockets for sure drive me nuts. For heaven's sake, just use a tissue. Next question, which I thought was a pretty brilliant one actually, is what question would you ask yourself that nobody has asked you yet, and what answer would you give? So I'm just going to finish up with this question, and the question that I would ask myself would be, what would you name the autobiography of your life? And I would have to say that I would name it Aimless Arrow, unless there's some sort of copyright issue. It's a Converge song, and in that case I would name it Unwritten Beginnings. So hopefully I did all your questions justice, and hopefully you enjoyed my vlog, and we can perhaps meet again sometime. Bye!